So this is my workshop. I thought I'd kind of give you a little behind the scenes of where I make a bunch of stuff. Like any shop, it's always fluctuating between array and disarray, or mess and clean. So gonna do a little cleanup here. A lot of it's messed up right now because right there is my shed that I will put up in the yard down the road. But you know, a lot of different things going on. We've got, this is my printer station over here, my 3D printing. And of course, you know, more mess. I gotta move that fan out of the way. But this is my little 3D print setup. Got my filtration up there. I'll do a little video on this guy one time. Down the road, I've got a little bit of infrastructure to fix on that. Always need to be cleaning stuff up and organizing. But the reason I'm going to clean up is I built this storage thingy here. It's sort of a tiered thing so I can grab tools. A big fan of how Adam Savage does all of his tool selection situation. But since I put in this storage all up in here, I can't get some of the stuff out of the top. And the other thing is I want to actually make some larger holes up in here. Got a few big holes up here for tools that have bigger handles and stuff, but like, for example, I can't put this guy anywhere. So I'm gonna clean up the shop and we're gonna work on this guy, unload it, pull it out, and I'm gonna make some bigger holes in there. And that's the gig for today. All right, I'm gonna clean this joint. So now we come to the part in the process that I always find extremely satisfying, and that is laying out some fresh paper on the workbench. So I'm gonna do that right now. Woo. That's good. It'll be a little about it and just hear it. Gotta do the back half first here. Put you there. Mr. Skull gets up on there. And then the front half. Always just so good. Love it. Wow. Okay, well, this is infinite possibilities right here. Hold on. My OCD makes me want to put Mr. Skull. Oh, you don't see him. There he is. He's got a phone in his head, you know. Anyway. Yep. So let me get the piece up on the bench and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so now I'm going to take this guy right here and take all the tools out, pop them off, get them over onto the bench, and we'll fix those extra large holes we need. Okay, so here's the part. I made this a long time ago, not expecting that I would need to expand this. You can see up here, these guys I went back and made bigger later on. So I'm going to do that to these other guys. Just make this whole row bigger like this. But it's still going to be a little bit too tall for that storage area. So I want to make this row big as well. The problem is I don't think I'm going to have much meat left on these guys right here. So what I'm probably going to do is take this guy out. Just take this out completely, make a whole new row with bigger holes in it, and that should cover what I need. If I get all these guys bored out large like this one, and then another row of large, should be fine. So that's the plan. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out these, take out this row right here. Okay, I found a piece of wood. This is, well, it's actually MDF, left over from my picture rail situation. And I'll show you a video on that because we're going to add a rail soon. So I'm going to cut it down, drill a bunch of holes, and see how it goes. So I'm going to use a Forstner bit. This is the biggest one I have. That should do the job. You can also use these spade bits, which are just fine, but these make a cleaner cut, and I like them. And so I measured this thing. It is 2.5, so 1.25 inches should be enough. And I use these really cool guides. I can't remember the name of them. I'm sure I'll put it in the comment below. It's a carpenter's guide, but it's got a little sort of needle here. And on the other side, you can adjust. There's 2 needles. You can make a width. But this block, when you unlock it, slides, and you can, you know, get a mark on it. So what I did was just, you know, go to 1.25 inches as close as I can. You lock it off, and then we do a little bit of a scribe on one side, and you go to the other side and scribe that. I'm doing this very badly. And if there's, I don't know if you can see it, but it'll make 2 lines, and if there's a gap, you can adjust a little bit just to dial it in. And so that's one way to find the exact center of a part. So I'll just put this in and drill a bunch of holes. I'm just going to eyeball their placement across, but at least I know I'll know they're centered. Okay, so I've apparently just cleaned my shop and just made a giant mess at the same time, but I got this guy, and that's gonna work. I'm just gonna hit him with a little bit of black spray paint and stick it back in there, and then we'll deal with that top rail next. Well, it's the next day, and I got this piece in here, just test fitting it. It's a nice snug fit, which is always good. Sometimes it doesn't quite do what it needs to do. But I'm going to test fit this in here. I'm going to do a couple marks so I can pre-drill this, get it back in, and I think we should be good. Okay, so that's it. That's good. About as close as I could get. I was at first, you know, marking with an awl, so I was going to pull it off and pre-drill, but then I was like, well, I can just do it right in place. So that's what that was. So we're good now. This can hold all the bigger tools that I have, which is great. That's exactly what I needed there. And so now I'm going to drill these guys bigger. And I have a little technique that I use, because if I try to just go ahead and get my Forstner bit or the spade bit and try to hit this hole, there's no pilot for it to hit, and it's just gonna wobble around like crazy. So I have a little trick that I'm gonna use for that, and I'll show you right now. Okay, so the plan here is to drill out these holes, but like I said, I can't get them to fit, or I should say I can't drill straight in there with the bit, or they'll fly all over. So I made this little jig. It's hard to see, but I put little markers on it. So this long line represents about 1/4 inch here on this front edge, and then comes in halfway to where this should go. So basically I can line it up against this front edge and then put my drill, you know, right in the center of, I don't know if we can see it, there we go. Like all these, and I'll just drill right to those intersections. I'll move it down, you know, clamp it, drill it, go to the next, and so on. So we'll do time lapse of that. I'm actually gonna do it on the floor here because it's too hard to reach. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is take this board and I'm gonna line up one of these lines with one of these holes, try to sort of center it, and once I get it centered, eyeballed, bring this up to the edge, clamp it, drill through this piece, hopefully it's good, and then move on down the line for the rest of these guys. Okay, so that's it. I got those all drilled out. As I was going, I don't know if it was the clamp or whatever, these things started to drift, you know, a little too close to the edge. So in this back end, I just started, you know, sort of cheating it back a little, that template. But it's okay if they're all over the place, not a big deal. Also, I got a whole lot of blowout under here. All these just kind of, that laminate blew out. I could have clamped a piece of wood in there, like a sacrificial piece, to keep that from happening, but I didn't really care so much about it. So I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of spray paint, and I like how this MDF one turned out. It's really nice and clean. So maybe one day I'll rebuild the whole darn thing, but not today. And then I'll put all the tools back in and we'll check it out. Well, that's it. Got it back up here. All the stuff is fitting. Got these bigger spots for these guys. Even some room up here for these weird short form tools and stuff. I hope you found it useful, and see you next time.